Oh no.
It just blew his brains out. Jesus.
Ah, man, that's funny.
Troops, I saw a bear here. Today, we'll be talking about Update 44 and a couple of new 30mm based vehicles and some big changes coming to the field anti-tank guns. Let's kick it off with the anti-tank guns. The Wardens and Colonials both get a new anti-tank gun, but I'll talk about the Warden one first and see how it compares to its previous counterparts. Now, while I cycle through the old field guns here are some new changes to all field weapons, with the exception of field artillery. All field weapons have had their health increased. All field weapons gain 2x bonus from the mass production factories. The Warden's Val-4 Wolfhound 40mm and the field anti-tank gun for Colonials and Wardens have had their rate of fire increased. So now, overall field weapons, with the exception of field artillery, are much stronger against vehicles. The newest Warden field weapon to make an appearance is the Val-4 Rampart 40mm. While it is still a 40mm round that's fired from this thing, it's a high velocity gun.
Superior about that, flat out.
Therefore, its anti-armor capabilities are much more effective than its 40mm smaller brethren. Just look at that barrel. You'll see this thing coming from a mile away. Maybe not the shell, though. On the flip side, the Colonials get the 68-45 Smelter heavy field gun. The Colonials brought this massive barreled field gun with its heavy 68mm shells to take on tanks directly. The Smelter is perfect for engaging enemy armor, and the frontal blast shield provides ample protection for the operators. That being said, a gun this big is really slow, so don't get caught out in the open. Next up, a new class of 30mm vehicles. The Colonials get a tankette variant in the form of the T-20 Ixion tankette. Similar to the regular tankette, however, this one has a covered top and a 30mm gun mounted onto it. It really is just a mobile infantry support gun, but something tells me they'll enjoy it. However, its larger armaments does mean a slight reduction in speed. On the flip side, the Wardens get the King Gallant Mark II. This is an upgraded version of the Scout tank. It doesn't feature any radio setup, but it does feature a 30mm gun, giving the Wardens a reason to use those 30mm rounds. That being said, much like the regular Scout tank, don't hit a mine. Another important feature for both these new tanks and some of the old tanks as well. For smaller tanks, such as both Warden Scout tanks and the T-20 Ixion, the commander seat now serves double duty as the gunner seat as well, meaning that you only need a crew of 2 soldiers in each of these vehicles. This frees up the 3rd soldier to be a ground spotter for mines or just general infantry. Some gameplay changes include garrison houses are no longer unlocked in the tech tree and now require an upgrade at all town halls, meaning you have to upgrade them at each individual town, but they'll be available right from the get-go. The Colonial Katara Model 2 light machine gun now uses 12.7 ammunition, and the maximum ammo capacity for that gun has been reduced from 30 down to 25. Vehicle turn rate is now also compromised to a smaller amount as acceleration when tracked. The anti-tank gun ammunition, 13.5mm, has been renamed to 20mm. The pitch gun, Mark V angle of fire, has been reduced if you're firing it from a vehicle, which should give commanders a little bit more precision when aiming from commander seats. Also, if a disconnect in a region occurs during gameplay due to a crash or other issue, that region will be briefly paused to allow soldiers to rejoin without losing or gaining any advantage. Essentially, it puts the region on pause until people have had enough time to re-log in. Some map changes include Taswell's Point Relic Base in Westgate has been moved west of Longstone and has been reduced in size to clarify the ownership of Longstone Seaport. Taswell Point has also been renamed to Zeus's Demise. The The seaport in Ogmarin in the Moors has been relocated to the west coast, and an observation tower has been added alongside it. Some other changes include some improvements have been made to the chances of successfully vaulting outside of a trench, greater ease of troop movement in poorly aligned Tier 3 trench connectors. The gray filter, or the no man's land post-processing effect, has been dialed down at night so you can actually see where you're going. There's been some improved ease of use when interacting with bridges from a boat, specifically the White Whale landing ships. Much easier now. Attempting to submit a large item to a full inventory or box will now give the error message, inventory full, instead of item has been submitted. The game lied to you this whole time. The Warden No. 2 Lowcaster rifle model has been updated. The Warden Drummond Spitfire and the Colonial R9 Spear Tip escorts and the 00MS Stinger weapons have all been updated to better reflect the faction weapons. So the Spitfire will no longer appear to use a Colonial light machine gun, for example. New player GUI has been updated to correctly reflect the current control scheme, and regiments in the F1 regional player list have been separated from the player name columns, so it's easier to find the player you're looking for, as opposed to having all these clan tags get in the way of sorting things alphabetically.
Get in the turret, man.
There were some bug fixes along with this update, but I'll save that for the patch notes down below.
Why is he standing up? Wait, why is he standing up?
I won't lie, I was a huge fan of the Scout tank. It might be my most favorite tank in Foxhole. And now that there's a reduced crew size of 2, well, that just means I'll have to get less people together to be able to use one of these. Oh, and of course, the 30mm Scout tank. Let's see what damage that can do. If you like what you saw in this update video, like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest Foxhole updates. And as always, good luck, keep your heads down, and stay in your foxholes. Bear out.
No man, I'm toasty. I've been killing Wardens.
Magnus
Here,
just says
here,
it's
there.
a flesh wound.
Holy Christ.
Ooh, beard kind of class.
I kind of want to switch seats with you for a second. I want to see what's going on.